Mixing horror with RPG and point-and-click adventure mechanics is something that's been done before, and with some success, but these games usually lean towards two of those elements rather than fully implementing all three. This is where we're going to discuss World of Horror, a very ambitious title, but before we get into all of that, you can only survive the horror that is traditional games media by becoming a member of our Patreon over at patreon.com/idreamofindiegames. You'll get fabulous perks such as early access to videos, exclusive videos and live streams, access to an incredibly friendly Discord gaming community, free games with certain membership tiers, and more. Your community is waiting. So yes, games like Sweet Home and the Fear and Hunger series successfully blend survival horror with turn-based combat, and then there's series like Shin Megami Tensei and the Soulsborne games that have a strong horror element in their dark fantasy setting. Even games like Resident Evil or Silent Hill have adventure game elements. World of Horror ambitiously seeks to combine adventure, RPG, and survival horror in equal amounts. Does it succeed in its goal, or did it end up scaring me off? World of Horror is broken up into different stories, all centered around the return of the old gods, entities that are invading local schools, businesses, forests, and homes. You are attempting to make a connection between these mysterious occurrences to help save the people of Shiokawa. Players are able to tackle these stories in any order that they choose, so things are a bit open-ended in that regard. But as for the gameplay, there's much that can be discussed, hopefully without giving away too much. There are 3 modes. There's a classic mode, which involves solving 5 total mysteries and reaching an ending, a scenario mode which plays through a single mystery, and endless mode has more mysteries that will continue to appear after you've solved previous ones without a final resolution. World of Horror is structured in a way where you can choose one of a few different playable characters or have the game make a choice for you at random. Each character has strengths and weaknesses such as different stats, starting spells, or even a substance addiction that can cause debuffs if you fail to feed the habit. Time passes with each activity you choose, and it adds to your doom meter, which results in a game over if it reaches 100. There are ways to decrease the amount of doom you acquire, such as completing a mystery or through various items and in-game events. Completion of a mystery also gives you experience points and restores stamina and reason, which both act as your character's health and can be used as a resource pool to perform certain actions. If either reason or stamina reach 0, this results in a game over. Reason and stamina points can also be gained from choosing to rest at home, but at the expense of passing time, which increases doom. This all might sound a little complicated, but you'll get the hang of it in no time. As for investigating mysteries, this involves choosing to search a certain area for clues. The area you need to search is indicated on the menu with a circle. While you are given an indication of where to search next, you can stray from this path and go to other locations. This is useful because there are shops in certain areas and allies that can be recruited. There are also side quests that involve performing certain actions, and these may be worth completing as they can have an impact on the ending. Spells can be found through multiple routes. They can either be learned from searching books in the school library, through random events, through a perk that gives your character a random spell after completing a mystery, or through choosing the right starting character. Using spells costs reason and sometimes also stamina points. Forgetting a spell will restore 1 reason point or possibly more with a certain perk, so they can end up being very helpful even if you don't want to use them. There are some spells that can do more damage than a weapon, so they're worth the cost of reason if you're fighting an enemy with extremely high HP. When you gain a level in World of Horror, you're given the choice of 3 randomly generated perks, and you are also given a choice between refilling a large amount of stamina or reason points, or increasing one of your stats by 1 point. Your stats are related to both combat and events, where the outcome will be based upon a check of one of your stats. These are important because some random events might give you experience points, an item, or a spell. Combat is turn-based, and you have a certain amount of actions you can perform in each round depending on how much it takes to perform each action. Using a heavy weapon takes more time than a punch or a kick, but also does more damage. You can also use your time to prepare for an attack, which will guarantee that the next attack will hit, and you can buff your next attack to deal increased damage. Now, depending on what attacks you're using, you might even be able to attack multiple times during a round of combat, so long as the attack can damage that kind of enemy you're fighting. Most enemies can be defeated with physical attacks and spells, but ghosts are defeated by performing ritual actions and then using your weapon to sever their connection to the world. You can either choose which one of the old gods is behind the mysterious events at hand, or you can have the game choose for you. Each of the old gods has a different effect on gameplay. After completing a mystery, the old god's impact on the world is increased, and this can remove your access to certain resources, like not being able to take a bath after completing a mystery, not being able to access a certain shop, or even losing access to the school library. Doom becomes especially important at the end of the game, as taking a final action increases your doom and can earn you a game over in a hurry. Learning to plan ahead and managing your doom and resources is going to be essential to success. There are multiple difficulty levels to choose from, and they also change the starting stats, the enemy stats, the threat level of areas you investigate, and even more. So yeah, all in all, let me tell you, this is not the easiest game in the world to explain. There are tons of systems, it is very complex, but all really well done. Visually, World of Horror has a great retro aesthetic based on 80s Japanese PC games, and the music and sound effects also fit that tone. The theme is Lovecraftian cosmic horror that takes place in a Japanese cultural environment, and the mix is really interesting and compelling. The horrors in the game resemble something you might see in the works of Junji Ito adapted into the style of a retro PC game. The game is black and white by default, but you can change to different color palettes in the options. I personally prefer the black and white look because it makes everything look like a horror manga in a digital form. While World of Horror is challenging, the game is also well balanced and feels rewarding once you become familiar with its mechanics. The tutorial is a bit unclear on what you're supposed to do, and I did encounter some bugs in the demo scenarios, but I didn't experience any technical hiccups in the main game, and it played and performed very well. The game manages to create a mix of point-and-click adventure, RPG, and those survival horror elements in equal amounts, and the result is incredibly impressive. While the experience is pretty short, with runs of the game taking anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour depending on your selections, World of Horror has a lot of replay value. Saving is only available after completing a mystery, but with the short playtime, saving isn't really a necessity. Some of the features were not yet available in this version I played, and it appears that more mysteries and old gods will still be added to the game in the future, along with some fan-created mystery scenarios. Personally, I'm really looking forward to when that happens because I can't get enough of this game. World of Horror provides a unique experience. It is a new classic of horror games, and I wouldn't be surprised if it spawns a subgenre of its own with games that play similarly. Because of this, and because it accomplishes what it sets out to do so well, I'm happy to give World of Horror a Golden Genie Award for its innovation and quality of gameplay experience.